Greetings and happy equinox. It's the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere and also the definition of the beginning of the sign of Aries in the tropical zodiac. So the day of the year when day and night are equal is the beginning of spring. And that defines the beginning of the sign of Aries. So Aries is associated with spring, the sun in Aries. We also today have the moon in Sagittarius, also a fire sign. So getting a little bit more of that sense of energy and need to do things, to move, to put things into action. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe for Thursday, March 20th. So, beginning of spring, right? Sun going into Aries. We get to be new again, new beginnings, the early experience of trying new things and taking risks and being courageous and beginning projects. So, the energy of initiating. And that energy of initiating also means that we don't have things perfected yet. Think of yourself as a brand new baby in terms of something that you are just beginning. And whether that is a new project you're starting or trying new habits, new routines, stepping into new possibilities for yourself, perhaps through some of the new awareness that you might have been tapping into, especially with a lot of recent water energy that allows, as I've been talking about, allows the energy to move below the surface. So when we had the moon in Scorpio and a lot of Pisces energy, which we still have, but now the sun has shifted out of Pisces. So that water energy means that things are moving and stirring below the surface, helping us to feel. And when we feel our emotions, we tend to cleanse and clear the space, allowing what is done to be let go, to be released, to move on. Sometimes we have some grief or some feelings about what we're letting go of, what we're moving away from or on from. And we are, of course, also having this opportunity to step into new ways of being, new possibilities for our lives, new possibilities for how we might show up in the world around us and take a stand for what is important. We also had, of course, a lunar eclipse. So that lunar eclipse bringing a shift or opening of a gateway to a turning point, a new beginning, something shifting, something, in other words, a lot of energy moving, changing, reorienting, reorganizing, regrouping based on what we're discovering, what we're becoming aware of that maybe has been there all along, but it's time for us to acknowledge things that we might have been ignorant of or in denial of. So, all of this is the shifting of the energies beneath the surface that gives us hopefully some hint of what is going to be the direction, how things are going to look as we move forward into these new beginnings. So it's beginning now with today's shift of the sun into Aries, setting out in new directions. And next week on March 30th, we have also the energy of Neptune going into Aries. So big change with that, a big change in the background energies. So you may not feel something like momentous happening in your life so much as we're at the very beginning of something that is going to feel different going forward. So again, that's why I've been talking so much about connecting with what's important to you, what you believe, what you understand, really opening to a deeper understanding, a connection to a bigger picture of wisdom, of meaning, of truth, of what's important to you. And so now, with the sun in Aries and later on Neptune going into Aries, we're going to begin this to take steps forward, baby steps at first. And we also have Venus and Mercury, both retrograde in Aries. So there, it's not going to move fast. Right now, we're still sort of reorienting, regrouping, figuring out what kind of actions we want to take, what that's going to look like. But we're having this review process that supports us to help to think about what we want to do, what it looks like, what are going to be our action steps, what directions we want to go in. So the shift from Pisces to Aries, which is happening with the sun, which will happen on March 30th, with Neptune, which will happen in May, with Saturn, which will happen as Mercury and Venus retrograde back into Pisces and then go direct back into Aries again. So coming up in the next few weeks and months, we'll have multiple different opportunities to find these new directions. So when we have the Pisces energy, again, so important to recognize where we've been lost, where we've been confused, where we've had the experience of being in the fog. Because when the fog lifts, you want to know, where is the road? Where am I heading? What direction should I be pointing? And with the work of while we're in the fog, which we still are to some extent, but it's going to change and shuffle around here for the next few weeks. But when we are experiencing that fog or the need to listen to a higher principle, a higher purpose, right? So when the fog obscures the immediate objects around us, we have to connect with our ability to know things in deeper and bigger ways. So connecting with a higher sense of wisdom or guidance. What is that in the bigger picture? What does your heart want? What do you care about? What matters to you? I've shared about a lot of these things as we've been going along through the day-to-day astro vibes and working with the moon cycles. So right now we're in a waning moon, sun going into Aries. So new beginnings, but also really think in terms of really just beginning to imagine the new directions you want to go in and take some tentative steps forward to see what it feels like. Take those risks, because only in taking a step forward will you realize what that step forward is going to, what kind of feedback you're going to get and what you're going to learn from it and how you can adjust and adapt to become and step into more of your strength, what you're capable of, and making a difference from that bigger perspective. Thanks for being here. And also, I want to say, with the moon in Sagittarius, will be later in the day opposing Jupiter, Jupiter in Gemini that rules Sagittarius. Okay, so we have the moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is in Gemini. The moon will oppose Jupiter later in the day around 6 something p.m. Pacific time, or maybe a little bit before 6 p.m., but right around there. And the moon's opposition to Jupiter also highlights that Jupiter energy. So what is Jupiter? It's about faith. It's about optimism, hope, beliefs, where we place our faith, hope, and trust. So there's a need to identify that deeper place of what gives you hope, what helps you feel hopeful, what helps you feel optimistic, and also really getting curious with that Gemini open mind to be able to connect with something that gives you that deeper sense of hope and helping you connect with what is the meaning drawing you forward, and that will connect with this Aries energy so that you're not just stumbling in the dark, but you have some sense of what's important to you and what helps you believe in the future and what it looks like to learn and grow as we head into the future. All right, thanks for being here with me. I'm Marina Orms. Thank you for subscribing. I so appreciate you and your support in becoming a free subscriber on this YouTube channel. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and check out my work and how to work with me at astrologyheals.com. See you next time with more astrology for unshakable self-care. Bye for now.